All right, let's check out this another article on the Westall incident from Australia, the UFO mass sighting. I wanted to check this one out too. It seems like this is a good one. It says Westall from 1966, 50 years on, still stranger than fiction. Um, so what, for instance, could you believe if barely an adolescent you went to high school one fine April day, a bright morning like numberless others, and playing cricket in the yard before morning recess, you suddenly became aware of what looked like a disc shaped metallic object hovering above the oval. The oval is the school, I guess, the schoolyard. Then, before you had the chance to rub your eyes, the air around you filled with excited cries. Look, look, flying saucers. I had a similar experience myself when I was younger in grade school. So this brings back a lot of memories of what I saw in the late 80s. Like, it was either late 80s or like 1990 or something, but um, I had a very similar experience to this. So that could fuel my fascination with this case as well, because it takes place on a schoolyard with a schoolyard. Then came the stampede of children towards the uncanny disc, hovering now about above the footy goalposts. Near the electric towers, some kids were terrified and crying, "It's the end of the world." After a time, the silver disc floated unevenly south over the market gardens down to the nearby parklands. So what if in that unreal moment you were one of the bolder children who defied the teacher's orders, jumped the fence, and rushed towards the park? And what if, arriving there, you were one of the kids who saw the unmarked metallic craft sitting stationary for some minutes, impossible, before rising vertically, turning on its side, and disappearing at imponderable speed? In the hours and days that follow, your teachers unite in playing down the event. Oh. Kids are punished for speaking to the media. Suited men you never saw before or since come and interview you behind closed doors. There is no such thing as flying saucers. You didn't see anything unusual. Don't talk about it to anyone, they would say. The teacher who snapped photos of the craft on the day has both her film taken away from her and the entire camera. Oh, man. One of the girls who arrived first at the park, two who arrived first both fainted, is taken away later in an ambulance. She never returns to school, and you never see her again. I heard something about that I mentioned that briefly in my first video on this. Then days pass, weeks, months, years. The story passes quickly from the media's radar. The strange objects and officials never return to your school. Eventually, even the students stop talking about it. No satisfactory explanation is ever forthcoming about what you and all the others witnessed that day. What could anyone think in such a scenario? Um, let's see. You might be right. Yet the preceding passages are not pure fantasy. They dramatize scenes drawn from what over 100 people attest to having experienced at Westall High School in Melbourne's Outer East on April 6th of 1966, 50 years ago this week. In 2011, the witnesses' experiences were explored in Westall 66, A Suburban UFO Mystery, a captivating documentary by Rosie Jones and Shane Ryan, based on information the filmmakers collected from over 100 witnesses concerning the Westall flying saucers. Wow. That's crazy. Westall 66's subtitle says it all about what remains one of the most extraordinary mass UFO sightings anywhere in the world. Amidst the literally thousands reported each year around the blue planet. In 2013, the Kingston City Council agreed to build a commemorative flying saucer playground at the Grange Parkland in Westall. It stands near to where witnesses report the original UFO landed, leaving a circle of flattened, partly scorched grass before disappearing into memory and controversy. You can visit the playground with its information boards about the 6th of April of 66 to this day, beneath the whispering pines. I remember being told about the Westall UFO as I grew up by my father. We used to drive nearby the Grange and the Westall school when Dad took us to work during term breaks. The story somehow stuck in my memory, like a penny in the pudding, or the penny in your throat. As a trained academic, it still fascinates me how people respond to reports of such uncanny events. There is a whole sub-area of epistemology, the theory of knowledge, which considers the oblique but revealing light extraordinary episodes like Westall 66, and the explanations people come up with to narrate them can throw on how we come to know about our world. What makes Westall so striking from this philosophical perspective is the stark confrontation it involves between what we usually take to be two of the surest sources of reliable knowledge about the world. All right. On the other hand, the response Westall witnesses have mostly had to face up to since April of 66 has, predictably, involved flat-out dismissals. What drugs were you all on? You're crazy. You were all just kids, etc. Such reports, you can imagine, are deeply hurtful for many of the individuals involved. I really felt for them, Ryan comments in Westall 66. They had this extraordinary experience that they then tried to share, and a lot of them had a lot of trouble doing that. Yeah. Such dismissals nevertheless reflect the fact that what the Westall witnesses claim to have seen challenges so many of our other basic and firmly corroborated understandings of the world, interlinks in our webs of belief. The alleged characteristics of the crafts in question for around 1 in 5 witnesses report seeing not one but 3 objects, 2 of which landed in the paddock west of the school, leaving their own circles, are unlike those of any plane, helicopter, swamp haze, or hot air balloon. They moved in ways which would require a form of propulsion we can scarcely imagine. Their appearance and behavior at Westall in April 66 suggests forms of applied science that beggar most contemporary understandings of what is technologically possible, even 50 years after the disputed facts. Easier then to shoot, scorn, or shun the messenger than accept a message that seems to bring with it so much riot for our wider sense of the way the world is. On the other hand, experiential testimony corroborated by over 100 witnesses excuse me, about an event that took place in broad daylight on a clear sunlit day. All these characteristics ought to rank the Westall UFO sighting pretty highly in considerations of the kinds of basis upon which people form justified true beliefs. Many widely accepted beliefs in different cultures have been founded on far less well corroborated historical stories. That is true. 50 years after Westall, then, we do seem left with the 100-fold testimony, its violence to our common sense, and our thousand unanswered questions. Or do we? Let's see here. Let's see. There are no good reasons to question the witnesses' reliability. Certainly not in the numbers involved, and given the level of corroboration of so many different accounts. Not all of them were children. There were teachers. There were also local market gardeners, Westall residents, university students. Each of these witnesses relate different but consistent perspectives of the event and its aftermath. Let's see here. Several witnesses report that the military who arrived to inspect and flatten the circles left by the craft included men in blue uniforms, unlike any worn by the Australian Armed Forces of the day. Huh. Let me see. Okay. All right. So that's pretty much the end of that article. The rest of the information isn't very relevant. This one says here, though, on April 6, 1966, hundreds of students and staff at a school outside of Melbourne, Australia, saw what one witness described as a round, humped object with a flat base hovering near the school grounds for 20 minutes while circled by civilian aircraft. So you get a better understanding here what happened. The object landed in a nearby field and then lifted off and vanished, witnesses said. Jesus. Lifted off and vanished. It landed, it hovered, it lifted, it vanished. I guess it sped off. According to what I've been hearing so far, a balloon's not going to be able to do anything like that. It's just not. Besides, the picture looks nothing like a balloon. And it was circled by aircraft, which I'm assuming was military aircraft. Many reported that, or even if it wasn't, it was civilian aircraft just wondering what the heck the object was. Many reported that police and military personnel later inspected the site in the suburb of Clayton South. In the words of the Australian daily The Age, Westall is one of Australia's most compelling UFO mysteries. It definitely is. It's one of the world's most compelling UFO mysteries. Let's see. Students and staff have been instructed to talk to no one. They're trying to say that it was a weather balloon launched by a nearby airport. Skeptics have since argued the object was a radiation detecting balloon launched from that same airport. Witnesses' statements, though, cast doubt on all of those explanations. Right. Radiation detecting balloon. It's not a balloon, though, man. A balloon's not going to look like your classic flying saucer, hovering around, landing, and then speeding off. Like it's, got intelligence to it, and that it can, intelligently go, move around on its own. In 1966, I don't think so. I just don't think so. See what else here I got. Andrew Greenwood again said that the movements of the object when... Now, this is somebody who saw, he's a science teacher that saw this thing, was witnessing this thing, and he's even a self-described skeptic. He said the movements of the object when approached by the civilian aircraft was the most amazing flying that he had ever seen. Okay, so a balloon's not going to do an amazing flight characteristics. It's not going to have that. So there you go. Right there. According to him, there's no way that that's some kind of weather balloon. Or anything like that. Every time they got too close to the object, it would slowly accelerate. Oh, I see. He said the movements of the object when approached by the civilian aircraft. So the civilian aircraft were trying to approach the object, and the object was moving had amazing movements, and something he's never seen any other craft do. Every time the civilian craft got too close to the object, it would slowly accelerate, then rapidly accelerate, and then move away from them, and then stop. Wow! So it was definitely an intelligent... there's intelligence behind this craft. That right there debunks the balloon theory. There's too much intelligence behind this craft. Then they would take off after it again, and the same thing would happen. Wow. Someone else said, a Navy, let's see, what is this? A former navigator for the Royal Air Force of Australia said that Greenwood's report was reasonably, was he a witness too? He said Greenwood's report was reasonably accurate. Oh, description of a nylon target drogue, a windsock towed by one plane for the others to chase. I don't know about that. That's just, yeah. He wasn't a witness. He's just trying to theorize what it was. Shane Ryan, a lecturer at the University of Canberra, who interviewed dozens of witnesses in the early 2000s, found that students were familiar with light aircraft because of the school's proximity to Moorabbin Airport. Although the UFO was of similar size, Ryan recalled that everyone said straight away that they knew it was not a plane, nor a weather balloon. There you go. All the witnesses are saying that. All of them. He said everyone. Basically everybody that he interviewed. And he interviewed like over 100 people, witnesses. Many former witness students recalled being frightened and amazed by what they saw. The witnesses were active, attentive people who have lived with a memory that brought them ridicule and censor, but the stories they tell and the pictures they draw show that they have not forgotten what happened. Let's see. Here's another drawing here. This is okay. So this site, definitely go check this site out. EnigmaLabs.io. And just look up. I guess just look up that, and then the Westall UFO incident from 1966. I'm sure you can find the page. But that's where I'm at right now. There's more pictures here that I've never seen before. This Bill Chalker's forensic drawing of witness Victor Zachary's recollection of events during the encounter. Oh my gosh. So it shows students in the field and the objects, there's two objects hovering. They're hovering just slightly above the ground, like maybe like to their heads. Oh my gosh. They're two disc-shaped craft. What the... There are some discrepancies. Let's see how far we are in, by the way. 22 minutes in. I'm going to keep going. I know this might be a little bit longer video, but this is a very important case, I believe. There are discrepancies in the witness accounts. Some people say there was just one, but I reckon there were three, said Suzanne Savage, who was 13 years old at the time. She told, well, maybe some were just fixated on one object while others saw like all three of them, of the objects. She told the Melbourne Herald Sun in 2017 that the objects were hovering over the trees and then went down into the trees and disappeared for a minute or two, then rose back up, sort of banked on its side, and then took off at 1,000 miles per hour. Oh my God. So there you go. It's not a plane. It's not a balloon. This is 1966. It's not a drone. Then this one reporter, Mark Dunn, thinks that that the students were mistaken, and he thought that it was an errant high altitude balloon used to monitor radiation levels. A runaway balloon from the Australian government's high altitude balloon project, Dunn said, was the likeliest explanation. See, he's not even saying for sure. He just says the likeliest explanation. He's just theorizing on this. He didn't see it. He wasn't there. He said, okay, so, okay, okay, so there's, oh Lord, there's another picture. What in the world? There's another freaking picture. I didn't know there was another one. Oh my gosh. What? So this one looks different from the other ones. I mean, it looks sort of similar than to the other picture, the photograph, but not completely. Okay, I'll put this as the next thumbnail down here, I think. For the next one. What in the world are we looking at here? Oh, all right, we got to read this part. So each test balloon lifted a 180 kilogram payload and was followed by a light aircraft tasked with tracking it and triggering its 12-meter parachute via radio signal. Citing documents found in the Australian National Archive by researcher Keith Basterfield, Dunn suggested one balloon may have been blown off course and came down near the high school, alarming and baffling hundreds of eyewitnesses, including teachers and students. Chalker Center countered that it was a big stretch to suggest that wind caused a highball parachute and payload to come down low, then go in varying directions, at times faster than light aircraft in the area, then turn and quickly disappear. That's a pretty impressive performance for a balloon and payload at low altitude. So that's why I'm doubting the balloon thing too. And so this is a photograph of an unexplained aerial phenomenon allegedly taken near Westall High School 2 days before the mass sighting of April. Oh, what? What is this thing? So there's something else here. This is an unexplained aerial a UFO here, taken in as a photograph 2 days before the mass sighting and taken near the Westall High School. What the heck is this? I don't know what that is. That's interesting. This one's I don't know. Wait. Mm, okay. Well, let's go on. That's interesting, though. That's interesting. It doesn't look like the first the photograph taken at the high school, but it's similar. It's silver, and it to me it looks it is disc shaped, like almost bowl shaped. There is a dome on it, but it's on its side. It's like moving on its side. That's really weird. What is that thing? Anyway, you can see the photo. That's the end of the article. You can see that photo, though, on here. That's interesting. See if I can find anything else on there before we wrap the rest of this up. Let's see. Taken 2 days before Westall mass sighting. Let's see if we can find anything else on that picture before we wrap this up. That is weird that there's that there was something seen 2 days before the mass sighting. And this was also in broad daylight. I want to see if we can find anything else about that. Okay, here it is. There's a Reddit post here. Okay. That's a weird one, let me tell you. Good picture of it, too. That's a good one. I mean, that is really strange. This is just as strange as the mass sighting picture of the UFO. Trying to find out anything else by this. So, okay. This was taken a few days earlier in North Balwyn, a suburb north of Westall. Okay. Okay. Well, oh my gosh. So, I'm just trying to find out, is there any more information on this photograph? And I'll put that in the thumbnail too, even though it's not the Westall picture. I do want to... this has got to be documented too on here. I wanna make sure. All right, I'll write that in the description too. Because this well, okay. There's no video, right? Like, this can't be a video. Okay, this is okay. So that's what I'm gonna do is make sure I got that. That is such a weird. What is that thing? You guys got to look at this. But guess we'll end it there for now. And if you're still here, thanks for sticking with me here. This is like sort of part 3 on the Westall UFO incident. I'm glad I did all these videos on it because I've learned a lot more about it now. And also, towards then, we got the picture of a UFO taken a couple days before this incident. So it's a nearby. Maybe one of these. Maybe that same craft was one of the 3 crafts that were seen during the mass sighting. Let me know what you think about all this. This is crazy stuff. I'm glad that there's, some visual evidence to look at. And I will be coming out with more UFO content shortly.